Hi there, welcome to the Financial Advantage Podcast. My name is Dennis Wells. I'm your host today. Super excited to be joined by Toni, Janko and Toni Eads from Janko Real Estate. And thank you all so much for being a part of the program today.
Hey, thanks for having us.
Yeah,
excited to be here.
Thank you. Thank you. Great to see you all here. Share with us a little bit about your background, how you got into real estate and how you opened your own company.
Well, I was a manager of a transportation company for about 18 years while going through college. And I had kind of maxed out in that career unless I wanted to relocate, which was something I didn't want to do. I love living in Indianapolis. And during that time, I had recently bought and sold a house with a local franchise broker owner. And it didn't really go as well as I had anticipated. I actually ended up firing him. And shortly after that, I got my house sold with someone else and decided I wanted to try something else where maybe I could improve the system a little bit. I had some real strong thoughts about real estate and how I would have done things different, being from a customer service background. And in 2008, when the market crashed, was when I got in.
Wow. So that the logistics background obviously sounds like played a lot into your system-driven, process-driven outlook on everything.
Yeah. So I was the sales person. I was the operations person. So whatever I sold, I had to deliver myself. So, you come into work every day at 7:30, 8 o'clock in the morning. My client was General Motors, so they were very demanding. You work 6-7 days a week. You work from 7:30, 8 in the morning till 6 o'clock at night, and then you went home and you worked a little bit more. And it was just something that I was used to, and I was used to, only selling what I could deliver, and I knew I didn't have to worry about. As a lot of salespeople have to worry about promising something and then their operations not delivering. Well, I ran operations as well, so I had to deliver on that.
Yeah, I love it. So now, how did you all meet and how did you decide to go into business together?
Well, my background, I actually started in the title side of things probably about 25 years ago. And that's how I ran into him. I had done everything in title from HR to production to management. And then I jumped on the escrow side. So I got to work with a lot of real estate agents on the closings and that side of things. And that's when I met him in about 2010. And, so he was basically our customer. And I was able to witness, the way he worked, his systems. He always had smooth closings. He stood above with all the other agents that I worked with on a daily basis. And just to see the clients come to closing and they're always so happy and everything was always so taken care of, which was not the norm with a lot of real estate transactions. So we kind of started our friendship then. He convinced me to get my real estate license in 2012, which I did. And then I stayed at that same job full time. And he came back to me in 2019 and just said, hey, I'm busy. I need to add somebody. If it's not you, it's going to be somebody else. So I jumped on the opportunity to be able to work with somebody like him. So I jumped in, quit that full-time job and did this more than full-time.
Yeah, I think that year I did about 100 transactions by myself with no admin, no coordinator, no nothing. What I had was great clients and proven systems. We have checklists for everything that we've set up from the beginning of the transaction until way after the end. And this isn't rocket science. If you're very detail oriented, which we both are, things can go real smoothly. I have a saying in closings that if I have to speak in closing, if I have to answer my clients' questions in closing, I didn't do my job up front, because they should go there knowing everything already. There should be no last minute questions.
No, I love it. And so it sounds like you really reverse engineered the process where you're like, here's the end result that we're looking at, and what is every step in detail to get from the start to there.
That's exactly right. And we look at, every little detail, and we try to think 3 steps ahead on everything. Well, what if this happens? What do we do then? And we can look back at a transaction that we did 6 years ago and know that we followed this exact same game plan. We would have done this with title. We would have done this with inspections. We would have done this on showings. This is how we would have done everything. And for the most part, it's going to be 99% accurate. So it's really nice knowing that you did things a certain way. Now, of course, there's always new techniques and things that you improve on through the system. But the fundamentals, once you get those down pat and right, it's pretty simple to replicate that at a high degree. You shouldn't have to show 500 houses. If you know what you're doing and you can screen someone and dive in on what they're looking for, you shouldn't be wasting their time showing them 500 homes. A lot of agents think that they're wasting our time. We're wasting their time by showing them 500 homes that they're not interested. We need to get to the bottom of what really is motivating them.
Yeah. I love that. What does that look like when you're meeting with a client for the first time to really help them get clarity around that? Because it sounds to me, like you're talking a lot of education. You're doing kind of a needs and goals analysis for them. But what does that look like?
Well, we like to say that we're a knowledge broker. So, our expertise is the market, and it's how the transaction goes and the steps that they might not see. So when we bring someone in, we have an honest conversation. We've got our own office here. A lot of agents don't have offices anymore. We have an office where we bring them in, we sit down in the closing room, and we ask them the details, and it's going to be, of course, what are they looking for, but why are they looking for? Why is it important to them? And kind of get to the heart of the matter instead of, I want to live in Avon. Well, why is it Avon? You may find out that there's an area of Avon that they want to move to, and technically it's not really Avon. It could be Brownsburg. So that they think they might want to move to this part of Avon. Well, that's actually Brownsburg, and their mom lives there. So what's really important is not being in Avon, it's being close to their mom. So you can show 500 houses, but there's only 2 or 3 right across the street from their mom. So then you got to go a little bit further to get them next to the mom. You got to knock on doors. You got to send flyers. You got to talk to those owners and see when they're ready to move. And we've done that before. So
yeah, another thing that we do as well is somebody does, one of our clients, once we get them set up on a search and we want to go out and start seeking homes, they send us an address. Well, we don't just schedule the showing. We look at that house. We look at its history. We look at so many things and all the details that we can find. And that way we're telling them, like, if we knew somebody didn't want to live next to railroad tracks, we're telling them up front, we don't want to go see that one. It's next to tracks. Remember, you told us you didn't want to live near them. So things like that, we'll look into and do a deep dive before we even go out and see the home.
We believe in being proactive. Our job isn't just to set someone up on a search and then let them tell us what they like. There's houses that, will hit the market that they might not get to see. It's our job to communicate with other agents and find out what's going in the market and introduce them to homes that they might not have seen. And the way searches are set up nowadays, someone could be looking for a 3-bedroom home, a 4-bedroom home. And if you've got them set up on a 3-bedroom search, a home with 3 bedrooms and a loft that just needs a door, or maybe the agent didn't even code it right and it is a 4-bedroom, maybe they don't see that. And so we look at the listings and we ask our clients, hey, did you see this one? Do you like this? I know you want 4 bedrooms. This is 3 bedrooms, but I saw this house yesterday and all it needs is a door. Let's go look at this house. So we're very proactive in everything that we do, not just buyers but sellers as well. Hell, even with ordering lunch.
Well, and I love that you're going deeper than your typical how many bedrooms, how many bathrooms, what size lot. It's like, why do you want, why now is a great question. Why do you want, you say you want to live in Avon or Brownsburg. Why that? Maybe it's to live closer to mom, maybe it's to live farther away from mom, but whatever it is, and really, drilling down to that why is a huge step towards actually delivering that value for the client.
We want to find them the right house, not a house right now, but the right house. And we have found with our clients that that's something that they appreciate, not being pushed into just finding a house, quickly, of finding the right house. And sometimes it takes a while to find that right house, but there's nothing better than when you do find the right house and you know that they're not going to be calling you, in 6 months, even though, hey, we're real estate agents, we love to sell houses. We don't want them to have to buy and then resell because they made a quick decision that they weren't fully aware of all the circumstances.
Yeah, absolutely. And I've heard a lot of this coming through your answers and your conversation here, but how would you define your business philosophy?
Well, our tagline is dedicated, experienced professionals. So we pride ourselves on our dedication to our clients. We pride ourselves on the professionalism that we convey and our experience. We've sold over 750 homes. So there's not much that we haven't seen on that side. She's done thousands of title transactions in addition to that. So we would know what to look for. As listing agents, we have questions that we ask lenders about the client that maybe it makes the lenders a little bit uncomfortable, but we work for our clients and we find out information that is helpful to make sure that transaction gets closed. Like if there's a divorce, we kind of want to know that if there's a divorce, because there could be something that prohibits them from closing on that transaction. So we're thinking 3 steps ahead on that. But we really focus on being professionals, having the knowledge for our clients, and again, answering their questions before they ask them. If it's a Saturday and they're getting an inspection on Monday and they don't know what to expect, that's on us. We need to make sure several days before they know exactly what's going to happen, and we've got a detailed list of what they need to move out of the way, when they need to move it, where they need to move it to, what they can expect from that whole thing, what's going to happen before and after that, and then what the next step is. So, because being in the dark, a lot of this real estate stuff is challenging for buyers and sellers, a little scary because they just don't know the process, and a lot of it's kept from them. And we don't put stuff on them, but we make sure that they know. There are clients that don't want to know anything, and we make it pretty simple. But there are clients that want to know, okay, who's coming to do the inspection? What time are they going to be there? Am I allowed to have my parents with me? This, that, and this. So
communication is huge. It's like one of our top, part of our philosophy of the communication is there, then they're not worried, and we help them ease their minds, keep them going through the process, and keep on track of things. So
yeah, I look at it, with our philosophy is that, educating, equipping and empowering, that when people have the knowledge and, they, and we equip them with tactics to be successful in the market that they're in, and even within a geographical area, some markets are still hotter than others, and what's it going to take to, get the house where you want, and then empowering them to make that decision, obviously the one that's in their best interest, but, explaining to them, why it makes sense, and then really, giving them the confidence that you talk about there to move, to move forward in their transaction for sure.
Yeah.
Very good. So how would you describe your perfect real estate process? I know you said, that they're, educated every step of the way, but, anything additional in there that, that at the different milestones you want to make sure for sure happen?
Well, even from the, very beginning, like I work a lot with the buyers and he works a lot with sellers. We work with both, but primarily, but like from my standpoint on a buyer's, from the very beginning, we're getting them connected with a lender, and we want to make sure we know what their buying power is. We want to make sure we're looking at homes that are fit within their budget. And just all the details that go along with that. But, just making sure, one, we're buying the right house for them so they're comfortable with their finances. That's key when it comes to the buyers. And then getting them through every one of those milestones. Okay, now, you've got your pre-approval. Let's go look at homes. We find a home, we write the contract, we get accepted. Then we walk them through the appraisals and the inspections, and we're telling them every single thing that they need to do before they need to do it. That way they're prepared and they're not anxious. And then, I mean, all the way up to the point of, now it's time to call utilities. Let's get them switched over to your name. And this is what you can expect at your closing, and all the way through to the end. So it's that communication throughout and the step-by-step process that we've put in place. But the same thing on the seller side.
Yeah. Perfect for me is kind of realizing that what we discussed, when we listed the home, this timeline, this is how things are going to happen. And then everything falls into place exactly how we said it would. And at closing, they're like, that was so easy. That's what we want. We want them to believe that it is easy. We don't want them to know all the stuff that goes on in the background, the drama with the other side or anything like that. We want them to believe that it was just smooth sailing, easiest transaction they've ever had. So to me, that's perfect. When they're like, hey, you told us 60 days ago it was going to close on October 15th at 9 a.m. and it's 9 a.m. and we're closing and it's the 15th. Today's 16th, right? 16th. Yeah. But to my point is, when we're under contract, we put a date on that contract that we expect it to close on, and then we schedule it the next day, the following morning for it to close. There's no last minute waiting to find out. So everyone knows up front, and that's the day that we're closing. It always amazed me when I got in real estate that agents were like, telling me, oh, my closing got delayed. I'm like, what do you mean it got delayed? There's a date on the contract that it's supposed to close. And it just wouldn't happen. And they would continue to work with people who, lenders and other agents that wouldn't, close on time. It's like, it doesn't have to be that way. This shouldn't be that way. And a lot of better people have entered the market and are doing more of that. But the perfect transaction for us is one where our clients believe it went really easy and everything went exactly to them that we said, even though in the behind the scenes, it may have been a little bit crazy, but to them, it was exceptional.
And I think what we do too is that we put ourselves in their position. We know that they've got a lot going on behind the scenes as well. They're worried about packing and they're worried about, if they're relocating, whether it's schools or whatever it could be. We know they have so much on their to-do list that we try to take off anything that can just wipe it out and not let them worry about things. Yeah. So
again, if they're asking questions like, hey, their contingency was supposed to be removed yesterday, what happened with that? Well, shame on me if I didn't already tell them, that was removed 3 days ago. So we make sure that they don't have to worry about that. We update our sellers on, hey, we talked to the lender this week again, and here's how things are going. Everything's going smooth, this, that, this, and that. So
we always say that we work all sides of the transaction. We don't just work for our clients, but we're working all sides. We're making sure the buyer's agent's doing what they're supposed to be doing, the lender's doing what they're supposed to be doing, no matter who the client is.
Yeah. And that one of the things we do as part of our, perfect process is, keeping the, all sides, up to date, like both borrowers, the buyer's agent, listing agent, title, insurance, and again, we always ask the listing agent, is there something that we can be doing to help you provide better service to your sellers? Because having been a seller before, you don't always get all the information that, sometimes it's not realistic to get all the information that you want because you probably want more than what you're probably allowed to get. But, at least getting something where like you're saying, that it's going according to plan.
Yeah. The fear of the unknown is the worst.
Right.
You can't have your people in fear.
Yeah.
Absolutely. And obviously you're curating a lot of 5-star Google reviews for your business. What are some things that you're doing to get those reviews from your clients and leveraging them in your business?
Well, we started getting Google reviews about 2 years ago, and it's been a focus for us and kind of a reminder of you've got to do your job every step of the way, because you could do a great job, but if there's one thing that you forget to do, that doesn't necessarily get you that 5-star reviews. And we don't want to do 99% of the job, and that one thing that didn't seem important to us was very important to them. Like sometimes someone doesn't have their internet for a day, and that's a big deal for them, and it kind of ruins, it leaves a bad taste in their mouth at the last day of closing. They didn't have internet when they moved into their house. So, everything from making sure that they've got direct contact info for utilities and so forth. So we take it, very serious. And that Google review is kind of just a reflection of everything that's happened. So if we do our job, those come naturally. Our clients want to share with us their experience with us. We always ask them, to give us one. Usually at closing, we'll ask them, or maybe a week after things have settled down. It kind of just depends on their personality. There are some folks that at closing, they want to get in their phone and write it up right then. And then there's some folks that, just need time to unpack and so forth. But Google reviews have been good for us. I used to do, before Google reviews, I did, Zillow reviews. And there were a couple, several different formats for reviews. But we take great pride in knowing that the two of us have, 160 something Google reviews, which might not sound like a lot, but if you Google, top realtors in Plainfield, Avon, you're going to see agents with 3, 4, 5 reviews. I've seen brokerages with 100 agents that don't even have 100 reviews. So it's something that we take pride in. It's something that we can tell clients, don't just listen to us about how great we say we are. Go on this list and look. And, I think a lot of them, you could probably reach out to yourself, find out who they are and say, hey, anything else you can tell us about the Janko Realty Group and so forth. But there's a lot of different personalities that we work with. So there's a lot of different types of reviews. We always ask them to do, a little bit of a play-by-play or commentary on what they had, not just leave us 5 stars. People want to hear the details of how it went. So,
and honestly, we do too. I love getting our Google reviews. It's almost that the reason we're doing what we are doing is to help people buy and sell and build, and just hearing their recap of their experience. It's like, that's what it's all about,
And there's sometimes that you learn that there was something that was very meaningful to them that you did and you weren't aware of.
Yeah.
And so that's great to hear. It's like, oh,
yeah,
that's phenomenal. Like, I hugged her mom and didn't realize, that meant so much, because, maybe the mom was going through something hard at the time, or, who knows. It's a good insight into people sometimes.
Yeah. And those Google reviews are huge. Probably noticed that they switched from, the way they used to do it, to a 3-pack. When you look up anything now on Google. So those reviews help get you in that 3-pack. But also just culturally, right? It's like, I could say, hey, Toni, what's the best barbecue restaurant in Avon or whatever? And you might tell me, but I'll still go on the Google it and see what their reviews are. It's like, you don't take the word from your friends, it seems, anymore. You want to go to, the Google and see what other, random strangers felt about it. But
we definitely leverage it when we're meeting new clients or meeting new people that are potential clients. We definitely leverage it and send them a link to our reviews, and they do. And I think most people get that feeling that we have a very repetitive comment that we get within our clients, and it's usually they were on top of things, their communication was great, things like that. And so if that's something that somebody's looking for in an agent, it's great because they're seeing it more than just one person saying it.
And we use that a lot with, like, our YouTube channel. I do a lot of YouTube videos, and the nice thing about video is it lets them kind of learn your personality a little bit, and get comfortable with you. And then when they're ready to call you, they kind of like already know you in a way.
Yeah, absolutely. There's totally something about that social proof when they're seeing you on video, when they're seeing the reviews. It's like meeting a famous person. You're like, I've not met you before, but I already know who you are. And there's definitely a reality to that.
He gets that. He gets that a lot locally.
Yeah, I understand what you mean. It is interesting, but yeah, they already know and trust you. They watch, the education that you put out there and what you share, and honestly, the way that you do it. We tend to work with a lot of people who are detail oriented, who, are professionals, and like things a certain way. So you can kind of like attract what you're putting out there in a way, with video and with reviews and stuff. So I always love it when, in this business, you get to work with your friends and people who become your friends on stuff.
Yeah.
So it's great to meet all the different type of people.
Yeah, absolutely. What are some challenges that you're seeing in the market today, in the real estate market today, and what are things that you are doing to overcome those in your business?
Well, I think there's real estate wise, the market's a little bit slow right now. So that's a little bit interesting. I'm not sure what's happening with the election. Obviously that holds it back a little bit. Some people might be scared. I mean, no matter what happens, you've got half the country who's going to be upset.
Right.
Interest rates are really keeping people at bay. But, we just came off of 2 years to where, you could list a home and it would sell for whatever price you put up there. It didn't really have to be all that pretty or priced right. And I think what we're coming back to, maybe the 2011-12 time where I like to say it's a beauty contest and a price war, and you better win both. So not every market do you have to win both, but just about every market, you've got to win one of the two. You better be the best price home, or you better be the most beautiful home. And in some pockets we're seeing you've got to win both the beauty contest and the price war. So I think if interest rates come back down, that's going to ease up a little bit on that, and that'll certainly help buyers and sellers. So the market is a little bit challenging right now. We've kind of prepared for that, kind of figured that was going to come. So business-wise, lead generation-wise, we're kind of prepared for it. I think one of the biggest challenges in the market is probably the public perception of realtors and what we do for our money. With social media, there's a lot of agents who've, kind of gained fame by, day drinking and doing TikToks and bikinis and stuff like that. And that's just not the way that I believe the industry should be portrayed. We've kind of lost a little bit of our professionalism in doing that. So I think that's a challenge, and I think the education is a challenge in our industry. So we lead, we have discussions with other agents about this. I'm very vocal about how I think agents should be acting in public. We've been on panels with our board discussing, how to market better, how to be more professional. We've been on panels about what our day looks like, what our lead generation looks like, how do you get repeat business. But everything that we assist other agents with is how to be more professional, how to be, how to serve your client better, and probably less serving of yourself in a way. So, that's what we're doing about it. It's kind of educating. We believe you become like the people that you're around, and what you focus on expands. So we, recruit. We work with agents that are dedicated, experienced professionals as well, and hold them to a high standard, to be that way.
Yeah, his theory is that we're trying to right the wrong of all these other agents, one client at a time, but we're going to try and right it.
Yeah, when I first got into real estate, I was like really surprised that realtors were thought of as lower than used car salesmen. I was like, what? And then after a while, I was like, yeah, okay, I can see why. And so my own individual driving force has been literally to right the wrongs of any agents they've had bad experience with, so that we can be looked at in a different light. And I'm pretty positive that we're pretty successful in that.
Yeah. Well, it brings to mind that, a great realtor, a great lender, you can make doctor and lawyer type money. We don't always talk about the money, but you can. And it's like, but are we giving doctor and lawyer type advice? Are we portraying ourselves? I mean, I don't know, but I don't think I see a whole lot of, lawyers doing TikToks and bikinis or, whatever. I mean, it's just, and so it's refreshing, that, recognizing, let's up our game and our perception for sure.
Yeah. And provide, knowledge.
Yeah.
there's lots of things that can be done different, but mostly our clients come for us for our experience and our knowledge to do things, and we share that with our people freely, on YouTube, on our videos. We want them to make the right decision for them.
I love it. I love it. Well, I've really enjoyed the opportunity to spend some time with you here today. I'm sure there's a lot of people that would love to get a hold of you, whether, to talk about buying or selling, or talking about, the kind of person you need to be to potentially be on your team. What's the best way for them to get in contact with you?
Well, as you know, we serve Indianapolis. We are on the west side of the Hendricks County area. Our website's JankoRealtyGroup.com. My email is Toni@JankoRealtyGroup.com. Hers is Toni.
Mine's Toni Eads @JankoRealtyGroup.com. Toni with an I.
Yeah.
He's Toni with a Y.
Yep. Look us up on YouTube. Send us a message. Hopefully, if you Google us, you'll find us pretty easy.
I was going to say, just Google, you'll find it.
Yeah.
I love it. I love it. Well, thank you all for being with us here today. I want to thank everyone for tuning in. I would love it if you would, like the podcast and share with 4 or 5 friends that are interested in, what a professional real estate team looks like. I want to thank everyone for being a part of the Financial Advantage powered by the Wells Funding Group. You can reach us directly at 219-230-8400. Thanks so much, everyone, and have a great day.
Thanks. Appreciate it.
Thank you.
All right. Thank you.